Hello, this is Brian Ullman. Am I making noise? Let's double check my audio. Audio input. Microphone. There we go. You should hear me now. And gotta change this. Speakers. All right, there's nobody joined yet, so nobody's live missing my audio here. But if you're joining after the fact, watching the recorded video, I don't want to leave you out. Let's double check here. Speakers. Okay. All right, so we can hear sound. Hey, some folks are joining. Yeah, family's off at the library now, so I figured I'd just take some time to continue working on the Idaho Insider website. I want to have it ready to go by January 6th, which is the opening day of the legislature, so that citizens who are paying attention to what's going on can use it as a resource to learn about various public officials and how to contact them. So I'll just be streaming for a few minutes here. If anybody has any questions or anything you want to talk about, fire it off and I'll bring it up. So I'm going to bring up my other screen here. Screen share. Boom. Allow. And there we go. Should I be up there? Should I be down here? Just some more fun I can do with Restream here, because it makes more sense to come down here, but then you can't see my pretty background. So check out the GemStreaChronicle.com. I just published a new article today. It's called "What is a Nation?" with this nifty header image that was made by Grok AI. Did a pretty good job on the borders of the states, though I guess these are supposed to be words, don't look like words, but still, that's pretty darn good for the borders. But it's a pretty cool image. Anyway, talked about the H-1B debate, where you've got, Elon Musk was coming out saying we need more H-1Bs. Which is high-skilled guest workers, foreign workers, most of whom these days come from India, though other countries as well. And then other people were pushing back saying, wait a second, the H-1B system is a complete scam. Companies use it not because they can't find any American workers, but because they want to hire people from across the sea who will work for cheaper. And another aspect of the H-1B system that is a problem is that once somebody is here, they're basically enslaved to whoever holds their H-1B visa. It's whichever company has control of that document. You come, you sign up to work at such and such a company. Well, what if you don't like working on that company? Well, you're in trouble. So obviously companies probably like it better to have workers who don't have as much of a choice. But that's part of the issue. Couple of years ago, I linked to this in the article. Theo Wold, he's an Idaho guy now, but he was in the Trump White House working on immigration. And one of the things that he did was stopped the Tennessee Valley Authority from outsourcing, I think it was 20% of their workforce. So the TVA is a government-operated organization. Started in the New Deal, the 1930s, under Franklin Roosevelt, to bring electricity to the American Southeast and also employ American workers. That was one of the big selling points of the TVA, that were putting Americans to work in a time when a lot of people were unemployed. But now the TVA had this idea that they were going to cut costs by outsourcing a lot of their workforce. And Theo Wold and his colleagues put a stop to that. They brought a plan to the president where he didn't have the authority to fire the president of the TVA, but he could fire the board members. And so they started doing that, and they backed down. The TVA backed down. So that was a great victory, and hopefully the first of many we'll see again in the new administration. So watch that, read the whole article. I just go about both sides and ask, try and drill down to the real question here. What is a nation? Is the purpose of the American government to protect the American workers, the American people, or is it just to raise GDP by any means necessary? So check that out. So here, where I left off with Representative Miller, his page is done. He represents District 24, so let's move on to the next one, District Senate 24. Yeah, I'm so glad Theo Wold is in Idaho. He's a fantastic asset in the battle for liberty, and he has a very long-term view of what it's going to take to maintain liberty and prosperity in our state. And so I'm very glad he's here. All right, so this is the old primary polls page for Senator Zeiderfeld. And by the way, if you haven't signed up for Glenita Zeiderfeld's Substack, do so. She had a good post, I think it was just yesterday, talking about what to expect from the new legislature and what drives her. So I'm going to come over here to the template, copy it, paste it in there. The template just happens to be Todd Achilles, Representative Achilles from District 16, just because that's where I left off when I created the template. So nothing personal there. So we go there, pop over here, find the image. So I hope everybody's doing well today. Zeiderveld. This one. The portraits, legislative portraits from the 2022 session, or the 2022 election, I guess. The session would have started in 2023. We're really overdone, I think. You can see on Senator Zeiderveld's portrait here, there's a lot of pixelization. It's because they really over sharpened it. The new ones look really good, but they did not make new ones, as far as I can tell, for the returning legislators. No, this is second term, elected in 2022. Party is Republican. So I can delete this now. So yeah, I hope everybody had a good Christmas time. We're in this kind of limbo area in between the end of Christmas and the beginning of the new year. We've got the new session, like I said, starts on January 6th. So that's a week from today. Is that a week from today? Yeah, that's a week from today. Session starts in a week. So there you go. It's coming, whether we like it or not, whether we're ready or not. My week is mostly clear. Obviously, doing the self-employed thing, I'm going to get you an article at least every day. But I'm also preparing a lot of other projects. Once the session starts, I'm going to have the GemStrea report every Friday. I'm aiming for every Friday evening. So that'll be a live production right here. Wherever you're watching it now, you'll see it there. And that'll be me breaking down the news of the week and hopefully bringing on some guests. So if a legislator introduces an interesting bill, I'll reach out to them and ask them to come on and talk about it. Obviously, that would mean giving up their Friday evening, which if they're, especially if they're traveling a long way, that might be valuable time for them. So I'll understand if not everyone can come, but I will still reach out. Also, something very exciting, I will be working with Citizens United. They have their Idaho Signal program, and I'll be coming on that program each day. I believe it's at 11:30. Yeah, I think that's right. There were some possible changes with the time, but it's whatever the same time was as last year. And I'll be coming on and bringing as much background information as I can about what's going on in the various committees with legislation and the stuff that happens in the Capitol. So I'm excited about that as well. But yeah, this week is pretty just kind of a little bit of downtime before all that begins. This Friday is the Idaho GOP winter meeting, and that is at the Riverside Hotel in Boise. Everybody's invited. You can come. You don't have to be a member of the party or an officer, though this will be my first time as a voting member of the State Central Committee, so that's very exciting. I'll be presenting 2 resolutions to the Resolutions Committee on Friday night and then joining the general session on Saturday morning. You can also come to the Chairwoman's Luncheon. Chairwoman Dorothy Moon will be hosting a lunch at the Riverside on Saturday noon, and then the Idaho GOP Winter Gala is on Saturday evening, and that's the 4th. So it's very exciting. I think there are probably still tickets available. Go to Idaho GOP or idgop.org to find those. Let's see. Back to the website. Senator Zeiderveld, IFF score was 88.5. Not bad. IACI score was 31, which is also good. If you're like me and you're generally conservative, you want to see high IFF scores, low IACI scores. Why is that? Why did IACI, Idaho Association of Commerce and Industry, why have their priorities become so contrary to what we believe are conservative principles? That's, could do an entire stream on that because it's very strange. Let's see, platform 97.22 is very good. That's Idaho Institute for Legislative Analysis did a rating of bills based on the Idaho GOP platform from as it was in the 2024 session. Obviously, the platform's been amended at the convention earlier this summer. I need to link to it from the main page, but you can take the platform quiz here on GemStrea Chronicle and see how you would score. And same thing with the IACI quiz. I've done those because the platform was 40 questions. They rated 40 bills. IACI, I think, rated 13 or 14. IFF rated over around 300, 400. So I've not done a quiz for that because that's a lot of work. But I don't know. We'll maybe do something with that in the future. We've also got the Club for Growth, which I'm adding here. So scroll up to Senate. I tweeted this out the other day. Actually, Idaho Dispatch republished it because they got the press release. And I've been linking to it from there. Senator Zyderveld got a 100% on the Club for Growth scorecard, which good for her. That's pretty great. The Club for Growth correlates pretty well with both IFF and the platform. All right, so those are done. Copy all this stuff up here, except I'm renaming this to campaign website. And then clear that out. Got to make sure this is full-size resolution, not large, which is ironic because if it's large, it is too big for mobile. Full-size, it'll shrink it down on mobile. And then I come over here. And I'm looking for the 2025 page to make sure I have the most updated page with the proper committees and proper bios. I'm using the bios from the website, just that way there's no editorializing. I'm not giving it my opinion of somebody. I'm just sharing what they have decided to share about themselves. The only one that's been a problem so far is that rascal Senator Brian Lenny from Nampa. He did not have a bio here, so I used his Twitter bio instead, which is somewhat amusing to me. Committees, Senator Zyderveld's going to be on finance, which is the Senate half of JFAC, which is the budget setting committee, which is great. We need more people like her on JFAC. And health and welfare. Last session, she was pretty much one of the few conservative voices on that committee. Sometimes the one and only. But going forward, it looks like this is going to be a pretty good committee. It's got some solid conservative legislators, so that is good. All right, I think that's about it on here. I'm going to save this, then come over here. I need to make this content view. This is a little WordPress plugin, if you missed my last one, that enables me to display other pages from, make sure I spelled that right, Zyderveld. Make sure it'll display other pages. So I can sort them, and we're going to sort by published descending. That means newest will be first. And I'm going to search by keyword. So it'll only show posts that have Senator Zyderveld mentioned in them. And I'm going to come up here. It's going to be a list. I'm going to get rid of everything but the title. And I'm going to enable pagination in case there are more than 5. That way it doesn't scroll the screen forever. Save, refresh. And sometimes WordPress slows down. I am paying for the base model WordPress site on my web host. So sometimes it struggles. I hope it doesn't struggle on your end. I hope it's just on my end when I'm trying to edit. Hopefully when people are using the website, it's fine. From what I've seen, from what I looked up, it should be capable of handling, 20,000 users a day, which is much more than I'm actually getting. So select view. It's still not there. Did it actually save? Come on. All right, let's refresh. There we go. I need a Zyderveld. And it's going to load all the posts that have mentioned her, including things like press releases and op-eds, which I think is perfect. That's what it should do. So Senator Zyderveld was sent out a press release a few weeks ago about the potential misappropriation of public funds over in Bannock County, and so that will show up here. So when you go view this legislator's website or webpage on the Idaho Insider, you'll see everything I've written about them, but also everything that they've submitted as press releases or editorials. And once the session starts and I start, doing, the session snapshots showing the different bills that are coming through, if they're a sponsor or they testified, it'll show up there as well. It's a very cool little plugin. I'm excited about it. So we'll save that. Check it out on the phone. Make sure that it looks right. Make sure I did everything right. Oh, there's Representative Miller. Senator Zetterfeld. There we go. Ooh. So yeah, I'm really excited about this site. I think it's going to be a great resource. So, and thanks to everybody who's joining me to hang out. It's just a casual time here as I'm updating the site. House 25A, we have Representative Clow. So once again, we do the same thing. Go grab the template, pop it in here. Obviously, Idaho has 35 districts. Of course, you know that already, I'm sure. He is House 25A. So that's how many more I have to do. I already have his picture in here. Make sure it's centered. You can't tell that it's centered on here because it's squeezed on the desktop, but when it's on mobile, like I showed with Senator Zetterfeld there, if it's not centered, it'll appear offset, which just looks silly. So I care about little things like that. It bugs me when things are not proper. And if it's something I can do to fix, I may as well, right? Anyway, 35 districts, so that will tell you, how many more I have to do. So he's been in office 6 terms. This will be his 7th term. So do the math. 7 terms is 14 years minus 2026 when the next one ends is 2012. And he is a Republican. It's sometimes finicky to get some of these things. All right, 48.2% on the Idaho Freedom Index. Not super great. Hopefully we'll see that come up. I saw a lot of scores that went down by 10, 12 points just in this last year from 23 to 24. So me being my optimistic self, I hope to see some improvement. 57.14 on the platform there. So we're done with that. Grab everything from there to there. Nope, don't want to overwrite official email. It's now a campaign website. Club for Growth for Representative Clow. You can, I'm linking to this on every single one of those. So if you want to go through yourself and see what bills they actually rated, mitigating future Medicaid expansions, Club for Growth supports, property owner protections, Club for Growth supports. It's great. So who are we looking for? Representative Clow. 41%. So that's a bit on the low side, but hey, we'll see if you can do better. And so I've linked it, so you actually click it and you can go to that. Since all the scores are on one PDF here, no matter which one you click on, it's going to be there. CPAC. CPAC's blank because I still have not found the 2024 CPAC scores, the American Conservative Union scores. I know they're out there somewhere. Once I find them, I'll go through and add each one. All right. Move over to Lance Clow, Idaho 2025. Sometimes this still brings up the 2024 website, so I got to double check, make sure it's 25. Yep, we're good. So put that here. Representative Clow remains the chair of the House Business Committee. He's also on Education and Transportation and Defense. His official email is here. Make sure it's mail to. And personal email. I forgot to check that for Senator Zetterfeld. Oftentimes, when I say personal email, I don't mean that I have it's like if I happen to have a personal email of a legislator, I'm not going to publish that. It's if I can find one on their website or on their Facebook page that they've chosen to publish. I will publish that in case people want to use that to try and get a hold of them. So I'm not seeing any here. Oh, there we go. Lance at lancecloud.net. So I'll just go ahead and try to copy that. Yeah, it's not cooperating, so let's select and copy. So since he published it on his personal or his campaign website, I feel it is perfectly fine to publish it here. And it'll just help people be able to get a hold of their legislators, which is, I think, something everybody can agree is a good idea. But if I just happen to have a legislator's personal email that they've given to me, then I'm not going to publish that, so don't worry. All right, we need his bio. throw that in here. Close these. Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer Comprehensive Aquifer Management Planning Committee. My goodness, that is a name, isn't it? The ESPACAMPC. It's actually something I wrote a couple of times about, the Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer issues with the groundwater versus the surface water users. I need to do an update on that because they've come to an agreement, but we'll see what that actually means. Hopefully we have good rain this year to help replenish some of that. So once again, doing this fun little plug-in to show stories. I don't know. Have I written anything about Representative Clow? Surely I have. And oh yeah, there's two articles. Saturday Roundup from a year ago or from a few weeks ago. Oh, that's right, because he appeared on Idaho Reports and he debated with somebody from the Conservation League about Lava Ridge. And he took the anti-Lava Ridge position, which is the same position everyone in Idaho has, except for apparently this other guy who was on the show with him. So, and I thought he did a reasonably good job on that. So, okay, that looks done. Save. One thing I changed from the last time I did this stream when I was working on it was this up here. This was just a title, Idaho State Legislature. I've now made it a link so that if you're sitting out here looking at, say Representative Clow, you're looking at his page with all his links. But let's say you want to go back to the list of legislators, you just click that and it'll bring you back to the full list. Figure that's probably going to help people navigate. I want to make things as easy as possible. So who comes after Representative Clow? 24B, Steve Miller. 25A, Lance Clow. 25B, David Levitt. There we go. Also check the phone, make sure it looks right on the phone. Trying to do my own troubleshooting here and quality control, but yep, looks good. So we have Representative David Levitt. How awesome is that? It's pretty exciting to see what they did in the Magic Valley. Remember that a lot of folks I did candidate interviews with during the primary season back in March and April and May. David Levitt was kind enough to join me for a while and share his vision. And that will still be there. You can still go back and watch it. I've got a much higher quality setup now, so future interviews are going to be even better. But yeah, they'll still be there. And sometimes I still go through and try and grab clips and post them if it's relevant. David Levitt, House 25B. And he has a new picture. So I guess he is one of the new guys. When I first started writing, doing these, they hadn't uploaded the picture, so I was still using their campaign pictures that I'd used for Primary Pulse. But now they have their pictures up, and they look pretty good, I think. They're a little bit smaller, which kind of affects how they appear here, but it is what it is. I figure it's not a big deal. You're never going to see two of the pages on at the same time. So, well, maybe you will. Maybe if I set up a district pages or something where you can see all three of them together. Should I do that? I actually have a plugin on WordPress that lets me take different pages and embed them in a single page. I did that with Primary Pulse. You could see who was running against each other. You could click on each contest and it would show you each of the competitors side by side. Should I do that with the districts? So you have District 25, you'd see Representative Clow, Representative Levitt, and then Senator Cole all together. Well, let me know. Let's come over here. Very short bio for Representative Levitt. History. This is his first term. He was elected in 2024. Party is Republican. And he is on these three committees: Ag, Commerce and Human Resources, and Health and Welfare. Remember what I said about Health and Welfare, both on the Senate side and the House side. It's going to be one of the better committees, I think. Put this here. Grab his his official email. So everybody ready for the session? Ready to follow some bills? Hold your legislators accountable. 58.3 to 47%. It's once again, it was a miracle what happened in the Magic Valley. Grab these. If I can copy them. This just saves me time. I don't have to go link all these individually again since I've already got them there. Make sure to switch this to full size. All right, let's see. And of course, he's NA on all the scorecards because he was not there in 2024. Personal email. Let's see if Representative Levitt has a personal email anywhere. Campaign website, campaign Facebook. Levitt for Idaho at protonmail.com. Excellent. I hope people take advantage of this and use it to learn about their legislators, get to know them, understand where they're coming from, and contact them directly. Because I think most of our legislators, even the ones that we as conservatives will sometimes disagree with, I think they want to hear from people, especially in their districts. Yeah, I don't know how often, if you live in Boise, if the Democrat legislators want to hear from you, but that's still part of the process. And honestly, I think most of them are probably going to be open to at least hearing you out, even if they completely disagree in the end. Too often, I think the lawmakers go to Boise, 105 of them, from 3 from each district. Every single one of them is elected by their constituents, so every single one has the same right to be there as anyone else. Doesn't matter what they believe, doesn't matter their background. They've all been elected by the voters of their district to represent them in Boise, and they all come together. But I think too often they only hear from lobbyists and think tanks, policy centers, fellow legislators, executive branch staff, or just people who are riled up about one thing or another, and they click some button that sends a form email to every legislator. What really helps, I think, is if you take the time to write them an actual message. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be, super fancy. Just tell them, I am a constituent. I live in wherever. I've heard that this bill is coming up soon. I've got really strong feelings about it. Here's why. I think that really does make a difference. Maybe I'm just naive, but I personally think it does. I think they'd rather hear that than yet another lobbyist or just yet another form email that they get 50 and they all look the same because they were all just generated on some Facebook ad. Enable. Yeah, I expect to have this done by January 6th. Well, by January 5th, because January 6th is going to be a busy day. I mean, it's obviously an auspicious day. I've written about Representative Levitt a little bit. I think that does it for his site. So let's go ahead and save. January 6th. Obviously, January 6th, 2021 was the day of the protest or riot or unauthorized tour of the U.S. Capitol, depending on your perspective. So this will be the 4th anniversary of that, but it's also the day in which the joint session will once again convene. It's a complete coincidence that it's the same day, but the joint session will convene and count the electoral vote. I think it's a coincidence. Maybe it just happens 2 weeks before the inauguration. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But it is the same day. January 6, 2025 will be the joint session of Congress certifying the electoral vote and Donald Trump's victory. And the poetic justice of it all is that Vice President Kamala Harris will be presiding over that joint session of Congress. So that will be that'll be fun, I think. But we in Idaho will be busy with the opening day of our legislature. I attended opening day last year. It was a lot of fun. Everybody's there. It's exciting. It's kind of like the first day of school. The reorganization meetings earlier in December were kind of like that as well. Everybody's back from summer vacation and it's time to get back to work. And there's all sorts of pomp and pageantry that goes with it. So I sat in the House gallery for the first day last year, and they officially vote to appoint a committee of 3 representatives to go to the Senate and invite them to come join them for a joint session. And then they appoint a committee of 3 others who are invited to go invite the executive officers, and then a committee of 3 others, or however many, to go invite the governor to come speak. and they've got to do that, and they go back and forth. The committee reports that the Senate is on its way. The committee reports that the Attorney General and Superintendent are on their way. The committee reports that the governor is on his way, and they escort them all in, and it's crowded because the Senate's in there and various other dignitaries. And then, of course, the governor comes in, does a State of the State address where he outlines his legislative agenda. And then they do the same thing in reverse, where they escort them out, and then they get a little bit of business done in the afternoon. So it's fun. It's those little rituals might seem pointless, but it's part of what connects you to the past and to tradition. These are things that legislatures have done for decades, centuries in the past. You go back to the British Parliament, and the way they interact with the king is kind of a similar thing. Not that the governor should be a king. All right, template. I mentioned on Twitter earlier today that it was 1 year ago this month, in December of 2023, that I first met Josh Cole and Clint Hostetler. They had come across into the Treasure Valley to support Lucas Kaler at a fundraising kickoff for his campaign. He's out there in Caldwell, and Lucas had invited me as well, so I joined, and I met Clint and Josh there, and so it was really exciting to watch their campaigns over the course of the following year, and to see them, all three of them even, Josh Cole, Clint Hostetler, and Lucas Kaler, are all going to be in the legislature, and they're all going to be, if I can find the right letter there, all going to be part of that. So there is Senator Cole. I'm told he's the youngest senator in Idaho history. I have not verified that, but I wouldn't be surprised. He's fairly young, but that's exciting to see young people involved. I believe the legislature works best, any legislative body, when it has multiple perspectives. You don't want people all coming from the same backgrounds with the same ideas, shaped by the same cultural forces. You want to bring different perspectives in, so you have a bunch of different ideas coming out. So it's great to see young people, old people, all working together. That's one of the debates about the legislator salary. Obviously, they're part-time. They're not supposed to be full-time, but it really is a full-time job. They're working throughout the year on interim committees and preparing legislation and meeting with constituents. I really don't think there is a such thing as a part-time legislature anymore, but they are paid for part-time, which is fine. We don't necessarily want to move toward a full-time legislature where they're in session all year long. But one of the arguments about raising legislator salaries is that it will open the door to people who otherwise have to essentially work for a living. Right now, you can't afford to go into the legislature if you have to work a 9-to-5 job. You either need a boss, an employer who's willing to let you go for 3 months out of the year and ensure that your job will be there waiting for you, or you need to be, a business owner or independently wealthy, retired, or perhaps married to somebody who is bringing in the bacon. So that's necessarily limiting. But then the other side, and an argument I can make, is that perhaps it should be limiting in that way. Perhaps, people who have built up their own business, for example, have shown that they have the discipline and intelligence and work ethic necessary that we want to see in our legislators. So it's one of those debates that goes both ways. Senator Cole was first term, elected in 2024. He's a Republican. No scorecards. Just copy this. Come down here. Defeated Senator Linda Wright Hartkin, 63.1% to 36.9%. That is a shellacking. Once again, Magic Valley miracle. They definitely tapped into something in the population there. The question is, can that be replicated? Campaign website. Can you go out to eastern Idaho, Bonneville County, Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Rexburg, Bear Lake? Can you replicate that kind of victory over moderate establishment figures? So far, the answer is no. the Eastern Idaho, it is. I keep calling it the tough nut to crack because it's hard to figure out exactly how to make that work. You have back in the past, you had some good conservatives from there. You had Chad Christensen, Brian Zollinger, Ron Nate, Kerry Hanks, all these folks who are really solid and have all the high Freedom Index scores. But now most of them are gone. Conservatives out there, real solid conservatives who want to cut spending and cut taxes, and are willing to fight on the social issues, seem few and far between. We'll see what happens. I believe the state and the country as a whole are shifting a little bit to the right on some issues, so that might pull some people who, you know, you have people in the legislature. I think that they have one or two pet projects that they're really focused on, and everything else they kind of just go with the flow. So maybe if we get that flow going in the right direction, we'll see some improvement. What am I looking for? Oh, yeah, this. Pop that in there. Grab the committees. Oh yeah, grab the website. And let's see if he has a personal email anywhere. Oftentimes it's on Facebook, right here in the corner, and there it is, Joshua@colforidaho.com. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and save that. Come back here, create a new content view. Josh Cole. One thing since this is by keyword, I'm not sure if I can do or modifiers on the keyword. I haven't tested it. Because whatever I type here is, it goes by Joshua Cole on here. So maybe I should make this Joshua Cole. And just make sure whenever I refer to him in an article, I say Joshua Cole, because if I do it this way and I ever write Senator Josh Cole, it will not show up. See, those are the things you have to think about when you're doing stuff like this. Bam, bam, bam. So I guess I will just make sure to always refer to him as Senator Joshua Cole at least once in any given article. If I'm going to do that, I should call him that up here, Joshua Cole. Dang it. Sometimes it just forgets that I clicked save. There we go. Let's refresh. He's still not up there because probably this one forgot that I clicked save. Honestly, sometimes when I do two things at once in WordPress, it gets confused. But maybe I expect too much. Yeah, I know I've mentioned him in other things, so I must have referred to him as Josh Cole. Okay, well, I guess this is a test. Let's see if an or works. Or Josh Cole. Does that change the preview? No. Okay, what if I do that? Well, this is a little bit of a pickle. This is what? This is content views. Let me open up a different website somewhere. Let's go to WordPress, content views, keyword, or modifier. I'll bring it over here so you see what I'm reading. This is a great little plugin, but I think I'm going to need this or thing for situations like this. Post by keyword, yes. That's what I want, but yes, I know how to do this. That's great. Could do a lot with this little thing, which is pretty cool. I'm not seeing a way to do it. Well, I could go back to every instance where I've mentioned him and call it Joshua Cole, or I could, you know what I could do? I could just say Cole. I've tried to avoid that on others because, say, if I'm talking about, say, Representative Josh Tanner of District 14, I don't want to accidentally link his page to things where I mention Representative Steve Tanner of District 13. But he's the only Cole here, and I don't expect to write anything about anyone else, so I guess I can cheat a little bit. So there you go. There's 5 different articles. That's probably the best bet for right now. So save. This, you're seeing how the sausage is made, how I overcome issues that come up. Why is this 720p? This shouldn't be 720p. Speaking of issues, quality selection disabled while live. Okay, well, I guess I'll just have to make sure that the next time I go live, I change it because for some reason Restream defaulted to 720p. That's annoying. I'll do a few more of these while as long as people are willing to hang out here. Mike Pahanka. He defeated Ned Burns, Representative Ned Burns. Actually, I met Mike Pahanka once at the Twin Falls Republican Convention in 2022. 26A. So he's going to have a new picture. Mike Pahanka. The new pictures really do look good. They didn't over the top like they did the last time. So on Jude Rules and Administration, State Affairs, Transportation, and Defense. History, first term, elected in 2024, Party Republican. No scorecards because he's new. Let's just copy him again. Grab the legislative website. Grab the email. Delete. And grab these sites. And let's see if he has a personal email on any of them. Let's make that large. Ballotpedia. You all use Ballotpedia, right? It's a great resource. Tells you who won and by how much and what races they've run in the past. This was actually a rematch from the 2022 election. Ned Burns defeated Mike Pahanka by only a few votes. But this time, Mike won by about 500. So it was still close, but it wasn't as close as the last time. So anyway, I'm looking to see if he has a personal email somewhere. I've been hacked. Don't accept friend requests. Okay. No email there. I'm not seeing an email here. Okay, that's fine. Just leave it blank. If I ever find one, I'll go ahead and add it. But for now, that's fine. All right, saved. Now I need to make a new content view. Call it Mike Pohanka. Sort by keyword. As far as I know, he doesn't go by Michael professionally, so that makes this a little bit easier. This is this whole thing here. I'll show you the preview. That's what it looks like there. But you could show thumbnails on each of the pages, which makes it kind of difficult to see. You can show meta. It's not Facebook, but it's telling you what the categories. Categories are usually not visible on the GemStreaChronicle.com homepage. I just use them to determine what goes in which columns. So anything in the Substack column goes in Substack. Press releases, news, and editorials go in the middle column. Videos go in the right column. And I'll probably add a fourth column once again for the bills this year. And then content itself, you can have excerpts, and I can even make it a long excerpt. I can even make it a grid. I mean, there's so many fun things you can do with this, but I have chosen to do it this way with just the list, the title, and there you go. I'm going to finish this up, and then I've got some things I have to do. Looks like it sounds like the family's heading home from the library, so I'll go hang out with them. Time to hit the home gym, have some supper, and then get ready to enjoy the last day of the year. But first, I'll make sure that this works. Yeah, there's Senator Cole on the mobile. And Representative Pohanka. I'll need to check on that. One of the downsides of doing a lot of reading and not much of anything else is that you tend to mispronounce words. That's just been an issue that I've had all my life. But there we go. It looks good. So yeah, I'm at District 26. I've got a week to finish this, to get up to District 35, and then I need to go back and do about 1 through 12, 1 through 13, and tweak a few things. I rearranged some stuff, like where, what order the things go in on the right column, and added the Club for Growth scores and things like that. But other than that, this has come along great. I'm really excited about this. I hope that this is a great resource for you. If you think it's a great resource, make sure to bookmark it so that you can always access it with just one click. Also, make sure that you share it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. If anybody asks about how, information about politics, local politics, just send it over to them on the main page of the pop-ups. On the main page of the legislative branch here is a link to find your district. So in case you don't know which district you're in, and therefore which legislators are yours, just come here, put it in. So I don't want to do my home address here, but what's something here in Eagle? How about Old State Saloon? They, if you follow them on Twitter and follow their stuff, they're getting quite a bit of attention. So that's very exciting. Their address is 50 East State. So 50 State, because it's East State. No, not Cedar View Estates. Oh, for goodness sakes. East State Eagle. There we go. So just make sure you get the right one. Eagle, Idaho 83616, Ada County. I'm not a robot, last I checked. A little search. It tells you you're in precinct 1409 of Legislative District 14, Congressional District 1. The border between CD1 and CD2 actually goes right through Eagle. County District 1, City 15. That doesn't really mean much. School District 8 is West Ada. And here's your polling location at the Eagle City Hall. So if you happen to live at Old State Saloon, this is where you would vote. But then you can take this and say, okay, well, I live in Legislative District 14, and you can come back and go to this list and say, okay, my legislators are Representatives Ted Hill and Josh Tanner and Senator Scott Grow. And then you can click on their pages and learn about them and learn how to get in touch with them and learn about things that I've been writing about them. So yeah, I hope it's a great resource for you. Hope you have a good rest of the year. Consider that in one more day, we will have completed the first quarter of the 21st century. So what are you going to do with the rest of the 21st century? That's up to you. That's up to us. The future is what we make it. So let's make it a good one. I'll see you later.